Well, that was a cold start fail. So, well, I got a battery charger on that. Let me introduce you to what we're doing today. We are doing everything that we need to, can do, want to do to get Wallace to what I'm calling the finish line, getting him ready to sell. So I've made a list of the things that I need to do to him to make that happen. But first, with that battery issue, I finally dug out my battery tender. I found a battery tender. Used to have it on my motorcycle. I'm going to start using it on the batteries for the 2 trucks so that I don't have to do this charge thing over and over. As you know, that's been an issue. So I was cleaning out my office and I was going through some old boxes and whatnot, and I found my old, they're actually fairly new, trophies from when we would go go-karting as a team at my work. And well, as you can see, I'm pretty much a big deal. First place 4 times. I'm completely undefeated. Nobody's been able to beat me from my work. And there's a lot of guys there that are car guys, whatnot. So, you know, I guess I'm bragging a little bit, but I'm pretty much a big deal. Okay, seriously though, let's get down to business. Let's get Wallace fired up and working. I've had him on the charger in like turbo mode on that charger for about 45 minutes. It's a little bit cold today. It's about 40 degrees. In the shop here, it's just above 50 degrees. So I'm going to get him nosed in here so that we can work on the interior, that sort of thing. It's supposed to be chance of rain throughout the day, so I just want to be in here where I'm sheltered and can work on him all day uninhibited. So that's the plan. Busy weekend. Let's get cranking. As you can see from the list that we made, treat surface rust on the inside of the cab as well as inside the bed. I just don't want things to get worse and worse. I'm going to use the leftover sound deadener that I have from the Midnight Maroon project on the floor pans. I'm going to clean all of the glass inside and out, and then patch the window seals. I'll show those up close and you'll see what I'm talking about on that. The passenger side mirror got ripped off at some point and took a chunk of metal with it, so we're gonna weld that thing back on. Then we're gonna do a detail clean on the interior. We're gonna put the badges back on. Those are the 3D printed and epoxied side badges that I built. So once we get all of the top items done there, I've added 2 more items to the list. A sexy photo shoot. I'll bet you're looking forward to that. And then we're going to get it listed for sale and see if we can get it gone. Well, just because this is the easiest to get to, it's the lowest hanging fruit, as it were, this is where I'm going to start. And what I'm looking to do is treat these spots. That's behind that, where that tank used to be. That's why it's black, but the original red. So all of that surface rust, there is some actual cancerous spots all the way through in a couple spots, but I'm just going to treat that, basically wire wheel it down, treat it with rust reformer, and then maybe put a little coat of black or something over it just so that it, you know, doesn't quite look as bad. I'm not trying to hide anything, I'm just trying to keep it from getting worse and worse. But overall, it's in very good shape. There's not a lot of dents and dings. Would actually clean up real nice with a couple of patches in each corner. Let's get after it and get this part done. So you guys hear me talk all the time about how AIM Extreme Lubricant is amazing, but I'm going to do a real-time test on this. I just lowered the tailgate and it's binding up in these joints down here. Those are supposed to just kind of pivot on there, and it's metal on metal in each corner. Each of those are binding up, and I'll show you what I mean. So instead of rolling on it, it's actually pinching as it tries to open, and it's doing it on both sides. So I'm gonna put just a couple little drops of this down here on this metal in each point. I'm actually gonna give it a good little squirt, because a little bit does go a long ways, but for a real-time test like this, for it to work faster, I'm gonna kind of get after it with it. See if we can get that to soak down in that joint here real quick. Set this down, and then we'll try to lift it and see what happens here. It's better than it was. It's still binding up pretty good though. You can see it's getting wet clear down inside there though, so it just needs a minute to soak in and do its work. This one's soaked in pretty good. Alright, well, we'll let that soak. We'll get to work. We'll check on this again in a little bit. Just kind of get after some of these spots. We'll get everything blown out. We'll spray some paint. No, rust reformer. Then maybe a coat of paint. I haven't decided if I'm actually doing that or not. We'll see how it goes. Here's the goodies I have laid out for today's activities. We've got about 5.5 cans of rust reformer. We probably don't need anywhere near that, but I just pulled it all out so I have everything handy and ready. I've got some undercoating. I may or may not use that depending on what I find and whatnot. I might use that on the interior. I don't know. Troy-Bilt red. That is the same color that I painted the fuel tank, and that is looking sharp, if I don't mind saying so myself. Got a little bit of tape and plastic, tape and drape, so that we can do some spraying inside without getting paint all over everything. And then this is what I'm actually going to be using to fix this stuff. See all these separations, the gaps and cracks. I'm just going to basically caulk those. I know it's not a permanent fix, don't get me wrong. This is basically just to keep water out until the new owner decides what they want to do with this. If they're going to be taking this thing out to paint and do body work and whatever, they may or may not do that with this truck, I don't know. Maybe they'll like it with the patina and just leave it. But either way, it'll be watertight and airtight, so that going down the road you don't have the whistles and stuff like that. I could actually feel wind hitting my face coming through that hole right there. So, and then same thing on the back window. It's got a separation right there. So we're gonna fix that up, clean things up so it looks good, clean the glass, which is next on the list. And then this is for the dash. If you remember right, I did a dash pad with that, and it stayed pretty nice. It's a little bit dusty now, but after a deep clean and another coat of that, looking sharp. Good enough for what we're going for. Woo! The fumes. Gotta have my mask on. Even with the garage door open, that's a little much for fumes. Much better. All right. So after I got looking closer at that corner, it is farther gone than I thought that it was. So instead of getting after it with a wire wheel, I just busted off the chunks from the top, hit it with a hammer, that sort of thing, and just got as much of the scale off as I could without getting too crazy. when I hit it with a hammer, it did start to weaken, so it is essentially not structurally sound anymore. So that whole corner right there is going to have some work done beyond what I'm prepared to do. The rest of it, we're basically just going to treat the same way. I mean, if somebody's going to do that and go through all the trouble, they're probably going to patch these as well. So let's just slow the rust down. That's the goal, and then move on to the next thing. So I was so tempted to just keep going. My OCD started kicking in. Just stop. This would be the best looking thing in the whole truck, and well, other than the interior. The interior is pretty solid. So remember the bed clean out video? And there was a big pile of something over here in the corner. Oh, we're about to the part of crawling up in here. See what else we got. It was way lighter than it should have been, but it's got this big split down the side, and that battery was sitting in that corner. So I'm hoping that's oil, but it's probably battery acid. I thought it was battery acid. It turns out it's oily, and you can't paint it if it's oily. So I'm busting out the old scrubbing bubbles and getting after it with a little agitation. Are you feeling agitated? Yeah, me too. But I've scrubbed on that, I've sprayed it, I've scrubbed on it, I've sprayed it, scrubbed on it again. Now we're going to use some towels, wipe that off. Hopefully we can get that clean enough that it'll accept a coat of the rust reformer. I got these other corners done. This is the last one. I'm going to wipe this all down, and then I'm going to give it time to dry while we start on the next things. A little bit of soapy water to rinse the degreaser off with, the cleaner off with. You can almost see the beauty underneath. I think that oil or whatever actually protected that from additional rust. It would have been worse. But you can actually see bare metal from where I sanded just a little bit. But we're going to let that dry, and then we'll treat it. Boom! Through the magic of editing, it's done. Well, it's painted with rust reformer. Done. And it's still drying, so that's why it looks a little bit shiny. But that is good. It's doing a little bit of separating. I didn't get all the grease off apparently. Like fisheye almost, but I think it's going to be good though. We're going with it. It is what it is. Show you what we got going on the interior. Okay, for the interior, my goal is to keep the original flooring if possible. So I've pulled that back and kind of tucked it up out of the way so that I can get to the spots where it's the roughest, and that's where I'm going to treat. We'll get that cleaned out, swept out, vacuumed out, and then we'll treat that. We're going to put some sound deadener down, just make it not sound quite so hollow. Probably just put one piece there, one piece there, same on the other side, and call that good. The doors still sound hollow, and I mean, well, they are. But every little bit that we do will help just a little bit. Let's get that far. Also, remember when I said to be careful with these? Yeah, I tore another one out. So I might, if I have time, I'm going to pull the seat out and we'll do more hog ties on the seat cover. The seat cover seems to be high quality. It's living through climbing in and out several times. That other one tore almost immediately after putting it in, which is kind of crazy. Super sad about that. But this one is solid, and I've updated the links on both of those other videos, and it'll be in the description down below as well, to the one that I bought that's better, that's actually lasting. The straps leave a little bit to be desired, but if you're going to put it in permanently, use hog rings. I'll put a link down below to that as well. Let's get cleaning. Let's get this solved. Alright, so let me be very clear here. I know there's rust there. Not trying to hide it, not trying to deny it. What I'm trying to do is make this truck last longer. It's a runner driver. Whoever buys this, I want them to be able to turn the key and enjoy this truck for as long as they choose to. And then if they decide to take this thing farther and, you know, pull everything out and redo everything, it hasn't gotten any worse since they took it over from me, or at least not as fast. So I've scraped this down, I've vacuumed it out. That's really as far as I'm going to go with it. This part right here is actually worse than that over there, if you can believe that. There's a little cancer spot right there that's starting to bubble up real hard. So that'll be the first spot that blows out. The next spot's going to be right up in there. So documented. I'm not trying to hide anything. It is what it is, but I'm going to get it so it'll last a little while longer. Somebody can actually enjoy this thing. Perfect shop truck. And this is the passenger side, and well, it is much worser. Tons more worser than the driver's side. This is gonna need to be taken care of, well, by the next owner. Probably sooner than anything else. There's actually already holes, and those will just get worse and worse. Let water in, water wreaks havoc and does its thing. But I'm gonna just get it treated, get it put back together. I'll probably put the sound deadener up on this portion here and a void down here because they're just going to tear that out anyway. But maybe I'll just lay a whole piece down and let them do with it what they will. Sorry, future owner. I don't know what's going to happen. But it's going to be better than it was. This is the sound deadener that I have left over. I've only got 2 sheets of it, so essentially we'll just do kick panel down onto the floor, kick panel down onto the floor on each. You use a little roller to flatten that out, make sure it sticks real good. It works better if it's warm, but it'll be fine. I've still got to paint and stuff, so I got this laid out so it'll flatten, lose some of its curves from where it was folded up in the box. I'll leave a link down below to this stuff. We used this on the entire interior floor of Midnight Maroon, and I'm excited for how much sound deadening quality that's going to give us inside that cab. Right there. Playlist right up there. Let's get the interior treated. It can be drying while we work on this stuff. And just like that, the passenger side is done as well. I think it helps. I mean, it's not a miracle cure or anything for road noise, but it'll give a little cushion and a little heat protection. In the summer, the exhaust goes right underneath your toes. So now it's time. Let's get the floor mats laid back down. We're gonna do kind of a deep clean on the inside of this. It still kind of has that musty old smell, and I don't know if we'll ever get that completely out until the seat is replaced, but I'm not doing that. So we're gonna just clean all of this. I do still have, smashing that stuff down with the roller. That's a workout. Anyway, sorry about the breath. I do still have the heater core for this, and I'm not excited about doing that. So I think I'll just provide parts for it to the new guy. Sorry, new guy, whoever you are. But I have the part for you, and it doesn't look terribly difficult to get up under there. I just haven't done any research on what it takes to do it. In the meantime, carpet back down, do the thing and the wash and the clean and the whatever. Anyway, that's where we're at. Progress. Let's go. Floor mats are back down. You can tell that because of, well, how it is. All right, next project, deep cleaning the inside. We're gonna go top down. When I'm done, I'm hoping that the floor shines as much as the dash pad is gonna shine. Here goes nothing. Before. Alright, here's a view of the passenger side complete. I actually finished spraying this with rust reformer just so it's color matched, and then I kind of feathered it up into the door jamb area just a little bit. Same thing over here. I didn't want to get the brand new painted tank all covered either, and you might think that that looks that good because it's wet, but I'm going to show you later that it's not. I'll give you a little preview of why it looks the way it does and how it's going to stay. I don't know. It's what I did. We'll see what it does when it starts to really dry out, and if needed, I'll spray it again. I'm not scared. I got a whole bunch of that stuff and it's cheap. Cheap! So I spent the time getting the driver's side caught up to the passenger side, and here's what it looks like as it dries. It's not perfect, but it's so much closer than it was before. I'll probably treat that one more time after it completely dries, and I know exactly which spots need it the worst. I may just do the whole thing again. It's not all that difficult to do. That side's done too. Let's go take a look at it. And this is what it looks like dried out. That rust reformer dries as a flat black, so I think that looks pretty good. And the driver's side floor makes the pedals look dirty, that's for sure. And this I just barely sprayed right before I went over and recorded on the passenger side, so it's still wet, a little bit shiny. But man, that looks, oh my gosh, this thing is going to show so good. I hope somebody loves this truck. It needs some love. Making some fantastic progress today. It's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I've got at least an hour and a half more of sunlight, so I'm hoping that, you know, we can get the windows done, patched up, and then final clean. I already cleaned them once, but we'll clean them again after we patch those seals. And I realize, window, it's the window seals. This is why I wasn't a school teacher. So I'm not sure how well this is going to show up on the camera. But each of these little cracks, it looks like somebody at one point treated them with something to try to get them to stop cracking, or maybe they tried to seal them with something. And I'm basically using a whole bunch of elbow grease and just a soapy microfiber cloth, so soap and water. So this is what they look like before, and I'll show you what the driver's side looks like after I've attacked it. So here's what they look like now. I'm hoping that shows up. My camera broke today. I don't have my little viewfinder that I usually have to be able to aim my camera. But you can see this is wet from where I was just attacking it. And of course now the glass is, you know, major dirty all over again. But I've reached across to about here on the lower side and up well past center on the top side. So still got to go all along and around that side. And then I dropped this earlier. Oh my gosh, that's a long ways down there for an old guy. But this is what I'm using to fix this. I have no idea. It's Weather Max technology, right? That sounded super important for this. Window door, siding, and trim. Lifetime mold and mildew. It stays flexible. It's black, so it should match what's already on there. It's obviously not a permanent fix, but the glass is perfect, right? Replacing that seal is a risk that I'm not willing to take in cracking that windshield. That thing can't be cheap. So this is what I'm doing. Right or wrong, criticize me. What would you do in the comments? I have no idea. This is what I'm doing, but I'm hoping that it'll keep the water out and just keep things from getting worse and worse and worse. I'm pretty sure, well, in fact I know, that this up here, in fact you can see daylight through there. So water is obviously getting in there. That's why this floorboard was rusted out worse than the driver's side. And I know that water is getting in those spots and inside because the window was stained from years and years of water just slowly dripping down in there. So it's going to be better than it was, and that is always my goal. Better than used, not quite new. Somebody should make a t-shirt. And with the magic of fast forwarding, time lapse with music, this is done as well. It needs to completely dry, so I'm going to start on the driver's side. That's the biggest gap up there that I'm the worriedest about. Yes, I am. So we're going to start over there, work our way around, come over to this side. This side should be dry by the time we finish. This is kind of just a work in progress. I don't know exactly how this is going to go. But it is what it is. Here goes nothing. Start with the big one, I guess. Go big or go home. So I think what I'm going to do is mask off the line at the bottom, the line at the top, and then also inside the window, because I'm going to get some squeeze through when I try to shape this to match the existing seal. Wish me luck. It's better than it was. It's not perfect, but it doesn't draw your eye right to it. I'm hoping that it doesn't shrink too much. If I can keep this dry, we're supposed to get snow tomorrow, so that's stupid. That's what I'm going for. I'm gonna treat the rest. Not gonna bore you with the details. I'll show you when it's done. All right, windshield is done. Working on the back window now. I cleaned this section right here so that it could dry, so that I could get the caulking on it. But I'm gonna let that dry while I continue cleaning. I mean, look how bad that looks. That's what it used to look like here. So I'm gonna be able to bring that black shine, as it were, back to this whole thing. Takes a little elbow grease. That used to be soapy water. Look how nasty it is now. I'm going to keep cranking on it. I do scrape on it with a blade as well. That gets the chunks out of the corners. Like this. Look at all that. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's the rubber like bleeding out because it gets hot. Right? But essentially that's what I'm up against. And next time you see the window, it'll be clean. And then we'll seal that. I'll show you how I'm doing that as well. So, inside and out. Right there's the patch. And it's about that wide plus a crack. I hope that it continues to look that good for a long time to come. And then we can call this a permanent fix. I'm hoping I can sell Wallace pretty quickly, so I won't be able to answer the question that everybody's going to ask. Is that stuff good for this? It seems to be so far. I am going to wash this truck before I sell it, but I can't do that obviously today. The weather's starting to turn. It's probably going to snow / rain turn to snow. That'll be bad for this. I still need to read on it what it takes to, like how long before you expose it to, oh, in fact right there, 1 hour rain and paint ready. So alright, it's 4:45. I've been working on this truck all day and I am so sore. Definitely sitting in the hot tub tonight. But look how good that turned out. I scrubbed on it until my hands started cramping up. It's been a long day. I still got to wash the inside of the window. I still need to fill the inside of that crack. And then I'm going to have my wife come out and check out the interior. Because she's ridden in this. She knows how dirty this thing was. We patched the window seals. Let's get that one marked off the list. Alright, the truck essentially is done. Interior is detailed, looks fantastic, and honestly it actually smells way better than it used to. Time will tell when it sits a little while and all the cleaner like dissipates and whatnot. We treated the hinges on this. Let's test this out, see what it's like after it's been sitting all day. Oh yeah, so much better. Get yourself some AIM. The link is in the description down below. You're gonna want some of that. Every shop should have it. There's that. I still need to go for my victory lap. The sun's about to go down, but man, blue sky. First time in, I don't even know how long, and they're telling us it's gonna snow. We do have snow in the mountains, obviously. Ski Utah. You're welcome. I'm gonna bring my wife out and have her check out the inside. Give her opinion. See if it looks any better to her. I still need to weld on the mirror. Put the badges back on. You know what? Let's do that. This is like a bittersweet moment because that's kind of the last thing to finish this, and obviously I need to wash the exterior, but the badges I took off right there. They've been sitting over here. behind my trophies. Right there. Gotta get those bad boys put back on. Let's do this. Well, it's a full 7 days later. I'm gonna try to do this without slipping and falling. Yikes. That was slick. It's been snowing almost every single day. We finally got some sunshine today. These things have held as far as not allowing water to go inside, but they did shrink a little bit. This one back here in the back, you can see a little better because the sun's actually shining on it. If I can get it to focus. So I'm still going to call this a good fix. They're still a little bit soft. I can still kind of poke my finger into them. I didn't push very hard, but it's spongy a little bit. So they need a lot more cure time, that's for sure. And the windows are now dirty again because it's been snowing the whole time. But I'm going to call it good. I'm going to use the pictures that I took before for the actual ad that I'm going to be placing for this. I'm going to start my bidding. I'm going to say $6,500 or best offer. It is a runner driver. The interior is in really good shape other than the floorboard on the passenger side. Brand new gas tank. Mechanically, the thing is sound top to bottom. It's a runner driver. Somebody's gonna score themselves a really good truck that's currently freezing to death. I'm probably gonna have to buy a new battery for it too. The battery just will not hold a charge. It's just, I guess it's an old battery, so I'll be into it a couple $100 for that, and then we'll get this thing listed for sale and hopefully be able to drive it and have somebody actually do a test drive if they're interested in buying it. But this is Wallace the 66. The next video, I'm hoping we'll be making a deal with somebody and they'll be driving away in it.